Caspa family, welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel. Thank you so much for all the love that you guys show on a regular day-to-day basis. Let's take a closer look and see what's happening with Caspa. As you can see, Caspa is having a wonderful day. Yes, you could say that about the broader market. The broader market is actually seeing a nice bounce, but Caspa leading the way up 25% over the last 24 hours, which again is a very nice move. And I'm sure the people that have been accumulating Caspa specifically around that key support line retest that we talked about yesterday are happy at this because again a 25% move in 24 hours is not a small move. And now if you're looking at it on a weekly time frame, that's where things start to look more interesting right now for Caspa. The broader market still down, a few handful coins up, Caspa up 20% on the weekly time frame. Is Caspa really about to turn things around? We'll see what happens. Let me know in the comments your personal thoughts, but before we do that, as always, just a quick disclaimer: anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So, key factors to look at right now. First thing that I want to point out is that the rank. We were pretty much just barely holding the top 100 ranking, and you can see we pushed up to top 76 ranking for Casper right now, with the price currently sitting at 5.1 cents, up 23.6% on the Bitcoin side of things. Valuation $1.4 billion, and the 24-hour trading volume at 94.3 million. Looking at the dominance, dominance pull down. This is something I want you guys to pay very close attention to, and I think this is actually having a positive impact on Caspa. And I think there's another factor to also keep in mind, which I'll obviously discuss with you, but you could see for yourself, dominance was literally sitting at 59.35%, and we have seen quite a sharp pullback since then for the overall dominance. And Bitcoin of course did the complete opposite, which is obviously pushing towards the upside, which gave altcoins more of a room to bounce up. So you can see for yourself, Bitcoin right now sitting at $87,241. We did see a little bit of a minor pullback since retesting $89,100 yesterday. We've seen a little bit of a retracement, still above $86,000 key support line. And my overall target still remain to be what I've been talking about, which again is the 0.50 fib zone. But that doesn't mean you're not going to see swings. And this is a perfect example of not seeing, that you're not going to see swings. Like pretty much what I'm trying to say is because the market is turning around, and if it were to turn around, don't expect it to be just straight one line. You will see swings, and we're seeing that literally yesterday. We saw a retracement of about 3%, a 3% swing for Bitcoin, and today too, we've seen a retracement of about 3% once again for BTC. But again, if it's able to break above $88,500 key resistance, I'm still projecting 0.50 to be retested. But Caspa has had a very, very impressive move towards the upside. But I just want to say the disclaimer once again: anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. I apologize if I said that twice, but it is very, very important to keep that in mind. But take a look at this move right here. So let's go back to what we discussed yesterday in my update. We were sitting at 3.5 cents for Caspa. It ended up retesting that key support line on the 21st of November. Anyone that was able to get in around this key range, you've seen an increase on Caspa of almost 50%. Yes, that no one's making that up here. This is a reality. 50% increase for Caspa in just the last 2 to 3 days, which is a very impressive move. And I'm sure a lot of people got surprised based off of this. And what's even interesting right now is that Caspa is retesting early November levels right now, which is even more exciting. So of course 5 cents is a psychological price point. Again, look where we got retested at 5.3 cents. This is a resistance for us dating back to obviously the previous cycle. You could see for yourself 2023, this was an all-time high at one point. That exact same level right now is playing as a resistance. If this is able to break out, Caspa could push back up to 6 cents, a level where we were prior to this major retracement that we did see at the beginning of November. But Caspa's price, look at it on an hourly time frame. This is where things really look very interesting. The volume at 100 million. So could this be due to maybe a major shorts that got liquidated? Could that be the reason why you've seen like a little bit of a sharp move towards the upside? That could be the case, but we also kind of need to keep in mind that this project has been pretty much declining quite sharply, and the valuation on Caspa is not large in this day and age. When we are sitting at about $1 billion valuation, it's not a big valuation in this day and age, because of course the entire market valuation is concerned, as far as that is concerned, sorry, is at about 3.1 trillion. So when you put that into perspective, $1 billion valuation a few years back was massive, but in this day and age, it's, I would say, something not people overlooking. So those projects can see massive swings, massive, wicks towards the upside. But for Caspa, for instance, literally just yesterday, last night, a 4 cents price point, breaking above that key range, it took this price up to 5.3 cents, which was a 31.2% increase over the last 24 hours alone. So, what you want to see happening for Caspa, especially when you see these types of major moves. Remember, what I've discussed on the channel is, Caspa is one of the project that doesn't have that much liquidity in the grand scheme of things. It doesn't, because it's still missing a lot of big centralized exchanges. Could that be the case? Again, we could speculate here, whether or not it's major exchanges that are coming on board to potentially list Caspa. We don't really know, but this move nonetheless has been, quite an impressive move. You want to see the price of Caspa, breaking above the 5.5 cents key resistance, a level we've obviously been quite familiar with for quite some time. If it's able to maintain its price above that key range, I think 6 cents is a very realistic target to be looking out for Caspa, which again is a level that we have not even retested for the entire month of November. And that itself is still a move of about 16.57%. But I think this can happen much quicker than a lot of people are realizing, especially if Bitcoin is able to break out of this next key range. But what's really, really I'm sorry, what's really, really important for Caspa holders to realize is when you see these types of moves, especially if you bought back around this key range and it's too much money that you cannot afford to lose, then lock those profits in, simple as that. But what you want to see, right now, that's very important, is when a project has a move like this, when you kind of look at the strength itself, you want to see the project kind of finding a ground for itself before, heading back up to, the, more higher price points, which in this case would be the 6 cents price point. You don't want to see the price, pretty much kind of pulling back down to the likes of, 4 cents. That would show significant weakness. Of course, obviously, if Bitcoin does that, if Bitcoin pushes back below, the $86,000 price point, dominance starts picking up, then it kind of makes sense. But if things were to remain as to what they are, dominance pulling down, Bitcoin gradually making its way back up towards 0.50, you don't really want to see Caspa, losing the ground for itself. So very, very important for it to do so. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. A very impressive move. Again, you gotta take it one step at a time. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Make sure your bell icon is on so you're notified every time we upload. You guys know during the bull market, the bear market, your boy Crypto ZX gives you updates no matter what. So I would really appreciate you guys come on board and show a lot of love on the channel. Love you all. See you later, in Crypto ZX, and peace out.